A top military official was on Capitol Hill today to answer questions about that controversial second strike on an alleged drug trafficking boat in the Caribbean in September. Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley told leaders of the House and Senate Armed Services and Intelligence Committees that he ordered that strike after it was determined 2 survivors from the initial attack were trying to climb back onto the boat and retrieve what a source describes as illegal narcotics. The operation has several lawmakers demanding more information, calling it a potential war crime and asking for more on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's role in it. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion is on Capitol Hill with more. Nikole, what are lawmakers telling you?
Well, some are talking, others aren't, but those that are have shared some details about this briefing, particularly some of the video that was shown to several members of Congress with respect to this strike, particularly that second strike in question after there were a pair of survivors seen clinging to a boat. But the accounts of what happened next appear to differ. Take a listen to what 2 members of Congress shared with reporters a short time ago.
But what I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. You have 2 individuals in clear distress, without any means of locomotion, with a destroyed vessel, who were killed by the United States.
I saw 2 survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs down for the United States, back over, so they could stay in the fight.
So again, the accounts there differ a little bit depending on who you talk to. We did hear from some other members who didn't necessarily want to go into detail, specifically Senate Armed Services Chair Roger Wicker, who told me that he does believe that members of the House and Senate, there could be others who would like to get briefed on this when I asked him if he thought that there would be additional hearings that would take place following these briefings. So again, this investigation, both by the House Armed Services and Senate Armed Services Committee, continues. And in some cases, according to members, in light of this briefing, is just now getting underway.
And President Trump is standing by Secretary Pete Hegseth. What about Congress?
Well, look, I mean, you have some lawmakers, particularly many Democrats, who are calling for the secretary's resignation. But in some cases, these aren't necessarily new calls, as many of them have been calling for his resignation for some time. Others defending their vote against his confirmation at the beginning of this Congress. But look, some of this is related to this incident involving the boat strikes. For others, it has to deal with this Signalgate report that was just released by the Department of Defense or Department of War's Inspector General, which found that some military information could have been jeopardized by the secretary's participation in that signal group chat earlier this year regarding some airstrikes in Yemen. So that being said, there are a number of reasons why some lawmakers, again, mostly Democrats, would like to see the secretary go. But for the most part, Republicans appear to be standing by the secretary. Leader John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, said earlier today that he continues to serve at the pleasure of the president.
Nikole Killion, thank you. For more on the Trump administration's reaction to all of this, we are joined now by CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro in Washington, D.C. Aaron, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have both said they stand by Admiral Bradley. What is the administration saying about today's testimony?
Yeah, nothing specifically on the testimony yet, though the president posted on Truth Social before the testimony, kind of in reference to the larger effort to stop drug trafficking, when he wrote on Truth Social, quote, "I'm dealing with the poisoning of America." We do know that this administration has also called for the public release of that second strike, but no reaction from President Trump yet on camera. We'll see if that happens later today.
President Trump hosted the leaders of Congo and Rwanda at the White House today to sign a key peace deal for eastern Congo. Walk us through this.
This is a generational conflict between these 2 neighboring countries that stems from the 1994 genocide in Rwanda and migration since then. But the main focus now is the M23 rebel group led by Tutsi commanders in Congo with backing from Rwanda. They were established in 2012. Since then, have launched several strikes, have taken over cities in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this fighting has spiked in recent years. And even despite this peace deal, which was actually agreed to earlier this year, those attacks have still continued. So what we saw today was more of a ceremonial peace deal, and you saw President Trump kind of put the onus on stopping the conflict on the two leaders of the two countries rather than the United States, in part because in this peace deal, there is no real enforcement mechanisms that were mentioned. You also saw President Trump talk about the economic opportunities that the U.S. has with critical minerals and rare earths in both countries.
All right, Aaron Navarro, thank you.